Chapter 831. Rookie's Block. The role given to Team Happy in this article was a foil to the real main character, no more than a sentence. It was submerged in the reports of the Pro League matches, struggling to stand out amongst the other information present. For a team from the Pro League like Everlasting, the amount of attention they received would greatly decline after they were eliminated last year. As for Happy, the attention they received was atypical at best. Most of those who paid attention to them did so with the hopes that they would lose. If Happy really did lose embarrassingly, then they would definitely rail and yell about it. However, with the victories that Happy had to its name recently, they were as silent as the grave. No one would come out to discuss them. Most players didn't purchase the issue of Esports Home to read about the Challengers League. Last Saturday, the third round of the Pro League had come to a close, but the anticipatory air for the new season had not yet subsided. The one who drew the most attention was, once again, the youngest pro player, Blue Rain's Lu Hanwen. During the Blue Rain home field match against Royal Style, Lu Hanwen's ability shocked everyone to the core again. He managed to consecutively defeat two members of Royal Style as the first player for Team Blue Rain in the group arena. His fighting spirit showed no signs of faltering in the third round against the ace of Royal Style, Tien Sen, and his ancient god-level account, Peaceful Hermit. Though he lost to Tien Sen in the end, he had already taken the spotlight. Some even thought that, had Lu Hanwen not had to fight two others and lose a good deal of health, he would have beaten the god Tien Sen in a fair one-on-one match. No one even cared about the resulting points of the match anymore. Everyone's focus was on the group arena and the tactics that Blue Rain had used these 3 rounds. Dual Blademasters. Huang Shaoxin's Troubling Rain and Lu Hanwen's Flowing Clouds appeared together in the lineup for the team competition. The important position of main attacker that once belonged to Yu Feng was given so confidently to this young rookie. Lu Hanwen's account wouldn't be weak in any way. If Team Blue Rain could armor Troubling Rain, then, so long as they had enough materials, they wouldn't have any problem getting Flowing Clouds the exact same set of equipment either. However, pro characters had to be adjusted to each player, so there were rarely any two same characters for different players. Flowing Clouds equipment hadn't copied Troubling Rain's, but the 10 pieces of silver equipment on him were not a single bit worse than Troubling Rain's. Out of these, 4 pieces were different, the most eye-catching being his weapon. Troubling Rain held the lightsaber, Ice Rain, which was covered in a flickering blue light. Flowing Cloud's silver weapon was a greatsword, Flame Shadow. Greatswords and lightsabers were two opposing extremes among Blademaster weapons. Lightsabers were the lightest and fastest swords, while greatswords were weighty and slow. However, greatswords were superior in physical attack. Blademasters with lightsabers had a completely different playstyle compared to Blademasters that used greatswords. In the current Pro Circle, or even the entire Glory Circle, lightsaber users were the majority, or maybe even Tai Chi users. Either way, most depended on speed, preferring to fight with quick strikes. Yet, Lu Hanwen's Flowing Clouds was atypical. He gave up the speedy and light lightsaber for the heavy but powerful greatsword. This problem was something people had been discussing ever since Lu Hanwen had debuted with Flowing Clouds. Now, after the third round, Lu Hanwen's fierce performance had shut up all those who doubted him. Although, many experts had pointed out that, since he was a rookie with an all-new character, Lu Hanwen and his greatsword Blademaster Flowing Clouds would be a surprise for all. If Lu Hanwen could keep up his current pace, as the competition continued and other teams started to understand his playstyle, it was hard to say if he would be able to maintain his current performance. This problem was something that was very common to the Alliance, called the Rookie's Block. What it referred to was when talented rookies drew attention with their great performance, they slowly lost their pace as other teams became more and more familiar with the way they played. This situation was the so-called Rookie's Block. As for what happened to rookies after that, it differed between each player. Some would hit the block hard and were thrown back equally as hard, slowly having to rebuild their style and get used to pro matches again. Others would be able to make the necessary adjustments to continue performing stably. However, their performance after hitting the Rookie's Block would never be as eye-catching as it used to be. In the history of the Alliance, there were only 2 people who managed to break through the block without faltering, excluding the first generation of pro players who were all rookies anyways. The first was the current captain of Team Tiny Herb, Wang Jiexi, who debuted in the third competitive season of the Alliance. The other wasn't currently in the Alliance, but struggling to fight his way through the Challengers League with excellent era, the 7th season best rookie, Sun Shang. Only these two managed to completely avoid the rookies block. Apart from them, everyone, even the Golden Generation, Zhou Zikai, Tang Hao, and last season's best rookie Zhao Yuji, had all been affected by the rookies block. The rookies block existed subjectively. That was why each team would always take extra caution in understanding how each talented rookie would try to deal with it. For example, Team Tiny Herb's genius Gao Yingji hadn't been sent out into matches immediately after his contract was signed. He started out as a backup player, slowly getting used to the pace of pro matches. Since his chances of getting onto the field were quite limited, he had to give up the opportunity of becoming best rookie, but this gradual accommodation allowed Gao Yingji to slip past the rookies block without too much trouble. Now, in this season, Gao Yingji had enough experience and had managed to become accustomed to the pace of pro matches as a second-year player. If he encountered any sort of problems, it wouldn't be as serious as it might have been had he still been a complete rookie. Different players had different ways to overcome the rookies block that suited them. Gao Yingji had quite a soft personality, so his team chose this steady method of helping him pass the rookies block. Though it was rather unfortunate that he wouldn't have a chance to get the best rookie award, it was still good for Gao Yingji's development in the long term. As for Team Blue Rain's Lu Hanwen, he had been protected in the opening round, not appearing at the press conference, but after the second round, he walked onto the stage with Team Blue Rain's captain Yu Wenzhou and ace Huang Shaoxian. The reporters were, naturally, very interested in this rookie, but after meeting him face to face, they all thought that Team Blue Rain's protection in the first round was overly excessive. This young man was optimistic, energetic, open, and cheerful, unafraid of the offense these reporters were mounting. He was brave enough to say anything, opening up about everything. He was able to express himself clearly, though his words lacked the slippery edge of a veteran. He was only a 14-year-old teenager. If he had learned how to structure and smoothen his words, it would be a total blemish on his image. In comparison, Team Tiny Herb's Gao Yingji was more than a year older than Lu Hanwen and had a year's worth of experience in the pro circle, yet wasn't nearly as neat as Lu Hanwen when it came to interviews. With the third round over, there was no way Lu Hanwen could stay hidden from the public after drawing such attention. This budding young boy not only triggered the touting of the fans, but also became the favorite of the media. At Team Blue Rain's press conference, not many people even bothered with Huang Shaoxian anymore. That guy wouldn't stop with his nonsense once he started, so most would rather listen to Lu Hanwen's occasional clumsy slips in speech. In this issue of Esports Home, Lu Hanwen had taken the cover story in the headlines. There was no doubt that he was the brightest star in this round of matches. However, Esports Home was still an all-inclusive media. Their reports wouldn't tilt too much towards any team, so they pointed out the problem of the rookies block even as they praised Lu Hanwen. As for the local newspapers in the areas around Team Blue Rain, they weren't nearly as clear-headed. These media channels weren't focused on esports, but all had section for sports. They, of course, couldn't lack the continuously popular esports, especially not Glory. For these local media, their favoritism and biased opinion was obvious. The local media in Team Blue Rain's area described Lu Hanwen as invincible. Rookies block? In their opinion, Lu Hanwen would no doubt become the third person after Wang Jiexi and Sun Shang to avoid the rookies block. Of course, they wouldn't put this down without coming up with a reasonable analysis for it. Wang Jiexi's style was ever-changing to the point of extreme success. The incredibleness of the magician playstyle wasn't someone that had ever appeared before, so for Wang Jiexi, it was the powerhouse teams that had hit a rookie's block, and had been hitting it hard over the course of the season. By the time they managed to make some headway into countering it, the season was over and Wang Jiexi managed to retain his halo all throughout that season. As for Sun Shang, he was a god coming from a small team. No matter how strong he was, his team would be holding him back from what he could truly achieve. All the powerhouses aimed to defeat teams, not just specific people, so they wouldn't put too much effort into researching someone like Sun Shang who was from an inconsequential team. That team would pose no threat anyways. Since Sun Shang was very strong, this limited research wouldn't be able to give him much trouble, making his debuting season smooth going. These two rookies who managed to avoid the rookies block had reasons behind how they did it. Pro Team Blue Rain media was now saying that Lu Hanwen could do the same, so they had to back themselves up with some form of evidence. To do so, these media channels found a relatively reasonable explanation. That was Lu Hanwen's personality. Though he was young, he also had no fear, just like how a newborn calf didn't fear a tiger. What these media channels believed was that, with such a personality, Lu Hanwen wouldn't falter no matter what difficulties lay ahead of him. Wang Jiexi didn't give his opponents the chance to build a rookie's block, and Sun Jiang's rookie's block wasn't strong enough for him. As for Lu Hanwen, many people believed he would be the first to completely shatter the rookie's block. Chapter 832. The Alliance in Chaos. Chen Guo obviously wouldn't get any local papers that reported on Team Blue Rain, so she only had an issue of the esports home. As for City H, the local papers would report esports and even Glory News, but Chen Guo was too lazy to go out and buy them. Even if she bought them, she would be too lazy to read them. It was similar to how the local papers for Team Blue Rain would just be praising the team. In City H, the local papers would just be praising Team Excellent Era instead. Once Team Excellent Era was relegated last season, the team practically stopped being covered by national papers, but in the City H local papers, Team Excellent Era would always be talked about in the esports section. Team Excellent Era was described with having an air of suffering patiently, but still firmly set on getting their revenge. Chen Guo had initially thought about how Team Happy was a City H team too. Would Team Happy be covered by the local media? During their period of infamy, Chen Guo had bought a City H evening paper. When she skimmed over it, Team Happy had been introduced, but they were treated like a joke and a disgrace. In the eyes of the City H local papers, Team Excellent Era was City H's flag and glory. You're just some upstart internet cafe team and you claim that you're going to topple Team Excellent Era? To them, Team Happy was a traitor within their ranks. Chen Guo had been furious at the time. She threw it into the trash can. From then on, she refused to buy any local evening papers and would only look at unbiased news sources that didn't discriminate against any team. In this week's issue, Chen Guo didn't see any content related to Team Happy, making her somewhat disappointed. As for all the hype in the pro scene, Chen Guo wasn't as passionate about it anymore now that she no longer supported a pro team. From time to time, she would dream about Team Happy reaching the pro scene and becoming a part of the wind and rain covered in the news. She couldn't help but feel moved during those moments. What? We have to wait for next week's issue. With no news related to them, Chen Guo threw this week's issue onto the table. Tot put it more precisely, it would be the next issue. The Friday issue comes out before our match, Yi Shu corrected Chen Guo, while grabbing the newspaper off the table. F***ck, let me see. Wei Chen wanted to see it too, but he was farther away. When he reached over, Yi Shu had already snatched it up, so he glared at Yi Shu disapprovingly. Yi Shu didn't look at him. He took a page out and gave it to Wei Chen. Wei Chen looked over it and threw it back. F***ck, this senior doesn't watch Interstellar Journey. Interstellar Journey was currently the most popular RTS game around. It also had a pro scene, but it wasn't nearly as popular as Glory. It did have a fair amount of fans though, so the esports section also did some coverage it. Yi Shu had given Wei Chen a non-glory page. Other esport games like Fighting God, Interstellar Journey, etc. were squeezed onto this page. Everything Wei Chen didn't want to see was on there. Ah, Interstellar Journey. I can play that. Let me see. Steamed Bun Invasion happily picked up the page that Wei Chen had thrown away as if it were trash. This guy had played many different games before. Tang Ru was new to gaming. She only knew how to play Glory. It could be said that his talent partially stemmed from his experience from all the other games he had played. It looked like Interstellar Journey was one such game. It seems like this season's quite chaotic. Yi Shu skimmed over the news and then flipped to page with the Glory Alliance point rankings. Only 3 matches had been played, so the relative ranking between the teams weren't too different from before, but because a total of 10 points could be obtained for each match, after 3 rounds, the difference in points between each grouping was quite obvious. The powerhouses were still as strong as ever. Team Samsara and Team Blue Rain continued their outstanding performance from the previous, and because of the 4 Heavenly Kings of Team Tyranny, their dominating strength placed them at the very front of the point rankings. Apart from these 3 teams, Team Wind Howl had also managed to start off strong. Tang Hao's addition to the team, as well, the rookie Zhao Yu's steady performance, and their old guard Fang Rui's dirtiness made Team Wind Howl appear very strong. Compared to the other big names in the leading group, it was their first in the history of the team. After them, Team Tiny Herb, Team Misty Rain, and Team Void had good records too, but they weren't as outstanding as the aforementioned teams. The others were in the middle or were pacing back and forth between relegations. The one team that made people the most conflicted was Team 100 Blossoms. After 3 rounds, Team 100 Blossoms' Dual Blossoms had returned, but their performance disgraced the name of the original Dual Blossoms that had consisted of Zhang Jiali and Sun Jeping. Yu Feng wasn't in form with his new Berserker, Falling Scattered Flowers. After Dazzling 100 Blossoms was sold, Zhou Yuan obtained a new Spitfire character, Blooming Blossoms. As the core of the team, Team 100 Blossoms easily created a new set of powerful equipment for it, similar to how Team Blue Rain equipped Flowing Cloud. Blooming Blossom's strength wasn't weak, but Zhou Yuan still hadn't left his slump from last season. This was quite disappointing for many fans of Team 100 Blossoms. Team 100 Blossoms was currently in 17th place. They were just 2 steps away from entering the relegation zone. A 3-time championship contender to have declined to such a state was way too sorrowful. No one knew if Team 100 Blossoms would be able to get back up from this. Okay, it's time for practice. Yi Shu only cared about the final point rankings reported on the paper and then put the paper aside. But Chen Guo knew very well that it wasn't that Yi Shu didn't care. It was just that the analysis done by the author wasn't any use to him. After leaving Team Excellent Era last year, Yi Shu practically watched every single match that was played in the Pro League and even organized them all into a file. The new season was the same. Early in the morning last Sunday, Chen Guo had gone to get a drink of water, when she noticed Yi Shu sitting in front of the computer, quietly watching the 3rd round of matches that had just finished Saturday night. Yi Shu wasn't currently in the pro scene, but Chen Guo was certain that he still knew the pro scene inside and out like before. Everyone on Team Happy needed to practice every day. This week's practice was more specialized than it had been the past few weeks. With an 8.5-1 lead, Team Happy still didn't dare to be negligent. Having direct experience fighting with Team Everlasting, Yi Shu organized more focused practice this week. This week, they would be facing Team Everlasting with a home field advantage. Yi Shu wasn't planning on setting their goal at just winning 2 points. With a huge 8.5-1 lead, you could say that you wouldn't be careless, but subconsciously, it was hard to completely rid yourself of those thoughts. In this situation, if you set your goal at only winning 2 points, you might indulge yourself in laziness. In a single elimination tournament, there was no room for negligence. 3 days soon passed. In the blink of an eye, Thursday came. Yi Shu asked Team Heavenly Swords to borrow their equipment temporarily. God. I don't think we can keep doing this. Lu Guaning lent the equipment to Yi Shu, but he couldn't help but voice his complaint. After all, Team Heavenly Swords was still participating in the Pro League too. Lending equipment in this way would certainly affect them too. Once or twice didn't matter too much. In any case, Team Heavenly Swords didn't have any ambitious goals for this season, but doing this repeatedly would only magnify the effects. Team Happy played in the Challenger League every Friday, so they borrowed the equipment on Thursday to get used to the equipment, but by taking these equipment away, Team Heavenly Swords lost 2 days of practice. Team Heavenly Swords had their match on Saturday too. Even if the equipment was returned on Friday, they only had half of Saturday left to get their practice in. Before a match, no team would conduct any intense practice. Adjusting their mindset was what was more important. 2 days of practice without equipment would add up and impact Team Heavenly Swords' practice. Lu Guaning was certain that God understood this reasoning, so he didn't think God would be so indiscreet, but Yi Shu borrowed the equipment so naturally and calmly. Lu Guaning couldn't help but complain, hoping to remind him. I know. It's just because of special circumstances this time. If not, we wouldn't have inconvenienced you. We have to do our best to get our own equipment too, Yi Shu said. Oh, God, you have ideas for silver equipment? Lu Guaning was suddenly interested. This was an important resource. For a new team like Team Heavenly Swords, they lacked this resource. They had to start their research on silver equipment from scratch. Their wastage of rare materials was very large. If there was a reliable method to produce silver equipment and create one in a single try, then he would naturally be interested in it. Lu Guaning knew that no one would give him this sort of information without good reason. He had tried trading with clubs before, but which club would easily sell this information? If they had to sell, they would just sell equipment. Unless they could no longer keep the team operating, no one would even think about selling their creation methods. Lu Guaning had gone full circle, but was only able to purchase either the outdated or unnecessary equipment from other teams. He obviously hoped to have a reliable long-term method. As soon as he heard that God had this kind of resource, his eyes lit up. I have a few ideas, but I'm still in the process of organizing my thoughts, Yi Shu replied. Lu Guaning was excited. Then, are there any suitable ideas for us to use? I'll have to think about that in the future. Right now, I'm mainly focusing on our team's current classes, Yi Shu said. Please God. If there's anything suitable for us, please come to us. The price will be easy to negotiate. Lu Guaning said. He had the money, but the problem was that no one was willing to sell. If the other side didn't want to sell, but you insisted on buying, then the price would just be raised sky high. No matter how rich Lu Guaning was, he didn't want to spend so much money without good returns. A character could equip a total of 13 pieces of equipment, including the weapon. If he had to throw away his money for everything, his pocket wouldn't be able to take it. As a result, Lu Guaning first bought 20 pieces of equipment. The rest would depend on the situation. As soon as he heard that this god, who he had a very good relationship with, might be creating equipment, of course Lu Guaning would be excited. Chapter 833. Control. Even if it's sound, it'll also depend on if you have the materials to make it, Yi Shu said. We'll have enough. Lu Guaning was quite confident. In the heavenly domain, their wild boss hunting was becoming more and more prosperous each day. They had a stable harvest. In the normal servers, Guild Heavenly Justice had established their power a long time ago throughout all 10 servers, so their competitiveness was high. What's more, there may only be one heavenly domain, but there were 10 normal servers. Even though wild bosses refreshed every week, the total output from the normal servers was 10 times greater than that of the heavenly domain. In terms of the number of accumulated materials, there were much more normal server materials than heavenly domain materials. Guild Heavenly Justice wasn't founded just on a whim. They had started accumulating materials in the normal servers early on. If God Yi Chu had a mature concept in mind, there wouldn't be an unnecessary consumption of materials. Producing a piece of silver equipment at such a low price was no different from a pie dropping from the heavens. Okay then. I'll help take a look for you guys. If you have enough materials, my side needs materials too. Help us out too, Yi Shu said. That's not a problem, Lu Guaning happily replied. This trade wouldn't be a bottomless pit. If they could create a piece of silver equipment in one attempt, that sort of capital was nothing for a guild like theirs. Yi Shu had to work on his myriad manifestations umbrella alone, which was why it had been so difficult. If it had been a club, with already completed blueprints, producing it would only take a few minutes. After Lu Guaning reached an agreement with Yi Shu, he bid goodbye in high spirits. He once again experienced the advantages of being on good terms with God Yi Chu. This wasn't something money could do for him. If he could get it with money, Lu Guaning also hoped that his side would have such an all-around talent. Yi Shu once again borrowed equipment from Heavenly Justice and distributed them to everyone. Everyone had the same equipment that they had last week. Following afterwards, they would need to start getting used to their new equipment. That night went by quietly. The next day, they did some adjustment practice before the match. Team Happy would now be officially starting their 4th match, so Yi Shu no longer needed to walk everyone through the practice routine by the hand. Everyone had already grasped the routine and would finish it every day on their own accord. 8 o'clock that night, the second round of their second match officially began. For this round, Team Happy would have their home game. Thus, the maps would be chosen by Team Happy. In Team Everlasting's practice room, their boss personally showed up to supervise the match. Everyone had solemn expressions. After the end of the previous round, Team Everlasting's boss had given a bottom line to the players. If Team Everlasting was eliminated in the second round, the team would have difficulty surviving. After all, Team Everlasting wasn't just some grassroots team formed by normal players. In those grassroots teams, it was just a bunch of good friends getting together to have some fun. Pay didn't need to be considered, but for Team Everlasting, apart from the players, the club also had other employees. The wages for these employees as well as the bills for electricity, water, etc. wasn't a small expenditure. Despite Team Excellent era residing in the Challenger League and their hopes of breaking through to the pro scene was minuscule, as long as they could hold on until the offline matches, they would be able to survive the entire season. Once the offline competition started, the Challenger League matches would be streamed, and there would be advertisements and sponsors for the matches. The participating teams would earn a portion of that money. Even though it wasn't nearly as profitable as the Pro League, with the help of this revenue, Team Everlasting could still survive the season. As for those grassroots teams, if they could actually reach this stage, it could be considered as a fair amount of money. As the offline matches continued and teams began to get eliminated, the bonuses would continue to increase. For Team Everlasting, which had come from the pro scene, even if they couldn't beat the final boss, Team Excellent era, they thought that as long as they didn't meet Team Excellent era or any other former pro team in the early rounds, they would easily be able to walk into that elimination stage. But now, they were only at the second round and they were close to being eliminated. It was way too early. Team Everlasting's boss didn't have the money to support the team for another season without any revenue. Team Everlasting's boss notified the team about this matter. The current Team Everlasting had a mindset of desperately fighting for survival. With a life and death crisis approaching, every player practiced extremely diligently. This week, their practice quality was very high. After a final period of adjustment before this match, the moment that would decide their fate had finally arrived. How would Team Happy arrange their lineup? What maps would they choose? Team Everlasting studied Team Happy day and night. Each player in Team Happy was studied carefully and repeatedly. They formulated their strategy according to the strengths of these players and their guesses towards Team Happy's lineup. The preparation phase of the match began. For this time's life and death battle, there were actually fewer spectators than before. The vast majority of the crowd this time consisted of actual Team Everlasting fans who wanted to cheer for their team in this crucial moment. As for those waiting to watch Team Happy burn, coming to this match didn't make much sense. With an 8-5-1 lead, was a comeback going to be so easy? With the face slappers not coming, those with a slight interest in Team Happy wouldn't come either. Most of those who came to watch Team Happy were there to watch the face slappers choke and laugh at them. If the face slappers weren't coming, they weren't going to come either. As for the others, the point difference was too wide, so they were too lazy to come out and watch too. This once again proved how the current tournament format could potentially kill the suspense of a match too early, reducing the next round to be of little interest. The only ones who wouldn't think in this way would be the two participating teams and Team Everlasting's fans. In the preparation phase, Team Everlasting's fans tried their hardest to support their team. Chen Guo was very easily absorbed into this type of mentality and accidentally started to sympathize with these fans. Team Everlasting would certainly be defeated by them. There would be no miracle. Chen Guo was incomparably confident about this point. In the preparation stage, the two sides arranged their lineups and the home side chose the maps. After everything was finished, the match officially began. When the map was announced for the first match of the individual competition, Team Everlasting's side suddenly exploded into an uproar. Map, ring. Yes, ring. In the game's arena, it was the most commonly used map, but in the pro scene, very few chose this map. This map was very simple and made matters easier, but it could be considered as a huge waste of the home game advantage. The home game advantage came from the maps. Choosing a map that the team was familiar with and often practiced in would strengthen a team, but ring? It was a flat rectangular platform without any sort of terrain. Choosing this map was equivalent to throwing away their home game advantage. This choice left Team Everlasting perplexed, but the match had already started. The starting players leapt into the competitor position. Team Happy, Steamed Bun Invasion. Team Everlasting, Dawn Rifle. The first players to go on stage were the same toe as in the first round. However, in the first round, Team Everlasting had wanted to show the other side their might. However, in the second round, their thoughts were now that they could not lose. They had to win this point no matter what. As a result, Team Everlasting's captain Wu Chen, their most reliable player with 3 years of professional experience, once again came out. Dawn Rifle stood on the competitor spot. Wu Chen sucked in a deep breath of air and watched the clock count down. 3, 2, 1. Start. Attack. As soon as the match loaded in, Wu Chen attacked. The ring was a small map without anywhere to hide. The cannon on Don Rifle's shoulder boomed and an artillery shell flew towards Steamed Bun Invasion. Wu Chen did not underestimate Steamed Bun Invasion. Even though he won the first round against him with ease, winning because of such a strange reason made him puzzled. From the other data on Steamed Bun Invasion, as well as from their team competition, Steamed Bun Invasion didn't seem to be a stupid player. All out. The current Wu Chen completely forgot about Steamed Bun Invasion's embarrassing performance in the first round and only thought about defeating his opponent. Steamed Bun responded nimbly. Attacking him from such a distance wouldn't pose a threat to him. Steamed Bun Invasion twisted and dodged past the artillery shell. That was just the overture though. Wu Chen's following attacks continued to arrive. On a simple map like the ring, even Steamed Bun wouldn't get lost. While dodging these attacks, Steamed Bun Invasion gradually grew closer to Don Rifle. In a fight against a long-ranged class like a launcher, the health on both sides would rarely closely follow the other. While the distance between them was far, the launcher could continuously suppress and deal damage to the opponent, but as soon as the opponent successfully closed in, a large chunk of the launcher's health would usually instantly disappear. The health of the two characters would often fall through these trades. The final victory depended on which side made the most of their situation when they held the dominant position. Apart from technical skill and decision-making, a certain level of calculating prowess was needed. For someone like Steamed Bun, that wouldn't be easy. In an even playing field, Steamed Bun Invasion eventually fell in the end after a few exchanges. Steamed Bun's technical skill was no worse than Wu Chen's. His loss could mainly be attributed to his lack of control over the situation. The health on the two sides continued to drop through their exchanges, but Wu Chen actually had a grasp on the pace of it. Steamed Bun was just charging in recklessly and missed many opportunities. With the first round of the individual competition won, the Team Everlasting fans among the crowd surged. Even in Team Everlasting's practice room, everyone had smiles on their faces. Even though winning 1 point didn't make much of an impact on their overall situation, a good beginning made them feel like luck may be in their favor. The second round. Map, Indigo Temple. Team Happy, Windward Formation. When they saw this name, Team Everlasting's heart jumped. Everyone looked at their chosen player and their expressions became very complicated. Chapter 834. Training. As soon as the veteran made his move, the outcome became very obvious. Windward Formation's ruthlessness was deeply felt by Team Everlasting that round. In the eyes of Team Everlasting, Windward Formation was second only to Lord Grimm as their most troublesome opponent. He had now appeared in the second round of the individual competition. As for Team Everlasting, their second contestant was their sharpshooter, a half-main roster 7th player. Asking him to take down Windward Formation was asking too much of him. If Team Everlasting lost 2 points, they would be eliminated from the Challenger League. The group arena and individual competition didn't need to be mentioned. Both competitions were worth more than 2 points each. They could not lose a single point here. As a result, they sent out their strongest lineup to face the challenge. Ensuring that their team won at least 2 points in the individual competition was a difficult issue, because the sharpshooter 7th player was slightly worse than the 6 players of the main roster. Team Everlasting puzzled over it for a long time. In the end, their lineup was the exact same as in their previous round. They entrusted their fate to the heavens. But Team Happy made a change in their lineup and placed Windward Formation second. On paper, it looked like Team Happy had a much higher chance of winning. However, Team Everlasting didn't seem particularly worried. They had been prepared for their sharpshooter to lose this point. If this point was lost to Windward Formation, it would be similar to TNG's horse race, accepting 1 loss to ensure 2 wins. It was the exact situation that Team Everlasting had been hoping for. Now it had really happened. 3, 2, 1. And the match started. Wei Chen had picked Indigo Temple himself. It was undoubtedly his most familiar 1v1 map. In an official match, Wei Chen withdrew his intentions of toying with his opponent and unscrupulously wiped the floor with his opponent. Wei Chen utilized the characteristics of his character and the map to the maximum. Team Everlasting's side was their slightly weaker 7th player. In the second round, Wei Chen easily took the match without any suspense. Even though Team Everlasting had expected this outcome, the result still made them nervous. The following third match would decide their fate in this life and death match. Because they had anticipated this result, Team Everlasting sent out an elementalist player with a strong mentality, who appeared on the competitor seat for the third round. This battle would determine Team Everlasting's fate. Someone without a strong mentality wouldn't be able to bear this sort of pressure. Even this player was constantly breathing deeply to adjust himself. He wanted to get rid of that last thread of nervousness in him. But at this moment, Team Happy sent out a player that had never appeared before last round against Team Everlasting, Concealed Light. Team Everlasting stared foolishly. For the entire week, apart from improving themselves, they thoroughly studied Team Happy, but this Concealed Light wasn't within their range of investigation. Even though he was registered as a team member, there was no information on him at all. And now this completely blank character was actually going to fight. Team Everlasting suddenly panicked. Even their mentally strong elementalist player was starting to seem troubled. While his hands were trembling slightly, Luoji was already so nervous that he couldn't even keep his mouse steady. He felt like his hands and feet had turned numb. His heart was beating so fast that he didn't need to feel it to feel it. Sweat covered his forehead. Experience needs time to be accumulated, Yishu said to him, when he called him onto the stage. Even though Luoji wasn't at City H, the match took place, so he could still participate from school. Experience might need to be accumulated, but was directly having him go into such an important match to accumulate it a bit too excessive? Luoji cried in his heart. He was often bullied around in the in-game arena. Now he needed to face a player from a former pro team. It was just too frightening for him. Even though it wasn't good to relax just because they had a big lead, giving a new player a chance to feel the pace and atmosphere of an official match was necessary. They couldn't just keep training him forever until a critical moment in a match appeared before pushing him onto the stage. There were certainly players who astounded the world with just a single brilliant feat, but Luoji's personality and skill level didn't fit into that category of players. As a result, with an 8.5-point lead, Yishu arranged for Luoji to give it a try. In fact, Yishu had wanted to do it in the first round. Throwing in Chen Guo to fulfill the quota was a bit of a waste. After all, Chen Guo didn't have much potential. She wouldn't actually be a part of Team Happy's lineup. Unfortunately, last Friday, Luoji had important business to take care of, so he couldn't participate in it. As a result, in the second round, Yishu wasn't going to let this training opportunity go and put him in the individual competition. 3, 2, 1. No matter how nervous Luoji or Team Everlasting's elementalist player was, the system mercilessly started the match as soon as the countdown ended. This match wasn't a ring, but a map that Luoji chose himself. In terms of utilizing a map's advantage, Luoji's skill in that aspect was above steamed buns. But being panicked, it was hard to say if he could utilize the map properly. As soon as the match started, Luoji immediately began summoning. He should be familiar with this, but because he was nervous, he appeared all over the place. His summoned creatures automatically started wandering around. For a moment, there didn't seem to be any control over them. Summoning a bunch of creatures all at once was also somewhat of a noob move. Summoners relied on their summoned creatures to battle, but their summoning skills had cooldowns. By letting out a huge swarm of them, he was practically using up all of his skills, making his pace of the battle seem lacking. However, against an experienced player, such a lack of pacing was devastating. Team Everlasting's Elementalist entered the match with a thread of fear against Concealed Light, but as soon as the match started, he saw the other side summon one creature after the other. Then, these summons ran around randomly. It was a magnificent sight, but it didn't make sense. Is this a trap? In a life and death battle, this Elementalist didn't dare to be careless. He naturally played very cautiously. A very unprofessional move would need to be analyzed as if it were dangerous. As the say went, there can never be too much deception in war. Trusting what was in front of his eyes would simply be too naive. The Elementalist carefully neared. Halfway there, Luoji finally summoned everything at his disposal. He swiped his mouse in a circle and clicked ahead. All of his summons began marching over. During this process, Luoji began adjusting the formation of his summons, while also calming down. His playing became smoother and smoother. Not long afterward, the summons were lined up in an orderly fashion. The Elementalist saw that the orderly formation and didn't dare to advance any further. He maintained his distance, waiting for those summons to get closer, so he could rely on his range advantage. The Elementalist threw out a probing spell. When Luoji saw his opponent attack, he didn't stay idle either and immediately ordered his summons to retreat. However, no player's offense would just be a single skill. After casting a spell, players would know ahead of time how to follow up. While observing the situation, the Elementalist continued to attack. As a result, concealed light summons slowly began to become more and more disorderly. Luoji couldn't keep up with his opponent's pace, and he insisted on a specific counter against his opponent's attacks. He was being haunted by his pursuit for perfection, but because his skill wasn't good enough, the more he sought perfection, the less perfect it became. In the end, the Elementalist could finally tell that this brother wasn't some expert. He saw it. Everyone in Team Everlasting obviously saw it too. Suddenly, the practice room seemed to be filled with celebration. They had won 2 points in the individual competition. If the match had 3 obstacles to pass through, they had passed through the first one. However, even passing through all 3 obstacles wouldn't determine their victory. The individual competition ended with 2 points to 1. Even if Team Everlasting won both the group arena and the team competition, their point total for this match would be 8. 5 to 1. The 2 sides would be tied and they would need to participate in an additional tiebreaker match. But in any case, Team Everlasting at least still had hope. The third round of the individual competition ended without any suspense. Team Everlasting easily took the win. Luoji was naturally very disappointed. Compared to that you who wrote guides, you've been improved a lot, Yishu message. Luoji knew that too, but he also knew that Yishu was just consoling himself. He replied back with a forced smile emoji listlessly. For the current you don't need to worry too much about winning. Cherish every battle and continuously work on improving. As you slowly build up confidence and experience, victory will naturally come to you, Yishu said. I will. These words lifted Luoji's spirits. He knew that Yishu wasn't consoling him, but giving him guidance. It might not have been the first time that Yishu said this argument before, but when it was time to implement it, it was easy to forget. A good teacher who gave sincere advice kept this in mind. When the individual competition ended, the group arena began after a short break. Because neither side had too many players to choose from, it was clear who would be appearing in the group arena. Team Happy's side would consist of Yishu, Tang Ru, and Chao Yifan. Team Everlasting's side would continue to have their experienced ace Heian as the general, leading their warlock and chi master in their fight to the death. Chapter 835. Helpless. The first in Team Everlasting's lineup was their warlock. In the last round, he had been the player sent out in the third individual competition and ended up losing badly with a disadvantage in cast range against Windward Formation. After a week, everyone had composed themselves and Windward Formation, the one who had left a scar on his heart last round, had already gone up the individual competition. The last bits of worry in his mind faded, and he brought his warlock, Leopold, confidently into the arena. For Team Happy, the first one to fight in the group arena was Tang Ru and her battle mage, Soft Mist. The preparation Team Everlasting had done in the past week was, first and foremost, analyze the reason why they had suffered defeat in the first round. There was a method to this. Analyzing their defeat was with the goal of obtaining victory in the next round, it was to energize their team. When they analyzed the reason for their defeat, they had to find a way to solve that problem as well. In their eyes, they had underestimated Team Happy's strength. Though they had prepared, but both the skills and the equipment of Team Happy were far beyond what they had originally estimated. Especially how some information was useless, like the info they had on 1-inch Ash, who had managed to crush one of their team members. What defeat brought them was priceless experience. In their battle against Team Everlasting, Team Happy was no longer able to wipe the floor with Team Everlasting like they had with their challengers. In a high-end exchange like this, Team Happy's performance and skill was far more evident. After their week of preparations, Team Everlasting felt like they finally had an in-depth understanding of themselves and their enemies. It was through these adjustments that Team Everlasting didn't fall into despair at the gap between scores. They had to close the gap and retain their competitive spirit. Now, the individual competition was over. They had lost a point, so this meant that they could, at most, tie with Happy. However, this start was enough to boost their morale. Soft Mist. Seeing the character on Team Happy's side, Team Everlasting's Warlock quietly ran over everything they had dug up regarding Soft Mist in this week. Passionate, ferocious, abnormally aggressive, a definite offensive character with technical skill that wouldn't lose to any pro player. However, it was clear from the details that Soft Mist wasn't a veteran at the game. So, although she had the hard mechanics down, she wasn't so familiar with other techniques. Her style relied on using her mechanics to overwhelm her opponent, but she didn't have much awareness for the situation of the match. On Team Everlasting's tactical notes, that was the analysis they had given to Soft Mist. Of course, there were parts about the player behind the character, but since they didn't know Soft Mist's real name, they used her character name. As for Soft Mist's equipment, it also shocked Team Everlasting to the core. They could only get a vague idea of the silver equipment from one match, but the other orange equipment she wore had already been thoroughly analyzed. This information was also jotted down clearly in their tactical notes. Team Everlasting's Warlock knew how he should deal with Soft Mist. After the 3-second countdown, the group arena officially began and both characters spawned into the map. Though Happy had the home field advantage, it didn't really mean much since they had newbies like Tang Ru and Steamed Bun. There probably wasn't a map that Tang Ru and Steamed Bun would know better than Everlasting's players. Steamed Bun's map had been chosen as the ring, because any other map and they might be handing the map advantage over to their opponents. Everyone thought that this choice of Team Happy's was giving up their advantage, but in reality it prevented them from being put at a disadvantage. However, since the group arena only used one map, Team Happy would struggle to take into account both their extremes. So, Team Happy chose Red Flower Pavilion for the group arena. It had some special terrain, but it was definitely not complicated. After the match began, Soft Mist and Leopold were placed into two opposing corners of the map. In the very center stood the pavilion and around it, red flower petals danced distractingly through the air. Yet, who would bother to pay attention to the scenery in such an important match? As soon as the match began, both characters started charging towards the center, where the pavilion stood. Tang Ru, as always, wanted to go head-to-head in the most direct manner with her opponent. For someone like her, the ring was a great map. As for Team Everlasting's player, he might look like he was charging fiercely towards the center, but his mind was as calm as the surface of a mirror. He wasn't planning on having a direct exchange with Soft Mist, that was something he knew not to do from their analysis. In an offensive exchange, Soft Mist would only become fiercer no matter if she had the advantage or not. So, against Soft Mist, Team Everlasting had 3 words: drag it out. Intentionally dragging it out, both the length of the match and the contents, from the smallest of actions, and finally completely neutralizing Soft Mist. This was another tactic they had come up with in their tactical notes after their week of prep, written under all the analysis on Soft Mist. If they didn't execute it, then wouldn't that be a waste all their efforts this past week? So, when the characters came into the proximity where Leopold could cast, Leopold stopped his movements decisively. His casting range wasn't as far as windward formations, true, but against a battle mage, it was more than enough. This was an exchange between a ranged class and a melee class. Wu Chen's victory in the first individual competition was a prime example of this sort of exchange. Team Everlasting planned to use this same method of taking control of the pace of the match to defeat Soft Mist. Curse arrows. It seemed too early to fire a low-stage skill like that, but this was all a part of the tactic that Team Everlasting was using. The dark ball of light hadn't been charged much before streaking over, splitting into a row of a few black arrows. Yet, at this distance, Soft Mist easily sidestepped. Whereas he had been charging just as fiercely as Soft Mist before, Leopold immediately started retreating after the skill had been cast. Whichever direction Soft Mist charged, he would retreat in the same direction. Tang Ru wasn't too surprised. When a ranged character faced a melee character, they would often kite around them like this. She had enough experience to know that. No hesitation, Dragon breaks the ranks. This powerful battle mage skill had become a way to increase movement speed under Tang Ru's control. Soft Mist sprinted, spear in hand, instantly closing in like expected. However, just as Dragon breaks the ranks ended, hexagram lights flashed and a hexagram prison was released under Soft Mist's feet. Team Everlasting was a professional team. After analyzing Tang Ru's simple and direct playstyle, her use of Dragon Breaks the Ranks to gap close on her opponent was within their expectations. Seeing Soft Mist raise her spear, Everlasting's Warlock was clear on what he had to do. Where Soft Mist's Dragon Breaks the Ranks would take her, under the circumstances, was something that was naturally noted down in their tactical notes. Hexagram Prison had begun casting the moment Tang Ru raised her spear to charge. As Dragon Breaks the Ranks arrived, the skill was unleashed. It was as if the two sides had planned it. The rising pillars of light instantly trapped Soft Mist within. A skill like Hexagram Prison was mostly used as a zoning method and rarely struck a direct hit. If someone was really hit by a skill like that, then they would be in big trouble. Without hesitating, Leopold immediately began to cast a powerful skill, summoning Death's Door. Soft Mist couldn't possibly escape while encaged by Hexagram Prison. She could only look on helplessly when the dark energy from Death's Door caught her. Corrosion Curse, Soul Strike, Soul Slice, Soul Devourer, Surrender Life. A string of skills activated in quick succession with a hint of vengeance. In the first round, Leopold had gotten the same treatment from Windward Formation after being caught by Death's Door. Now, this combo of offensive skills had been reenacted on Soft Mist by Leopold. As Death's Door ended, a storm of chaotic rain was summoned. Warlocks focused on control and Leopold showed off that trait spectacularly in this match. Chaotic rain fell from the heavens and Soft Mist couldn't escape, having just been released by Death's Door. She immediately fell into confusion, losing control of her actions. Leopold continued to fling all sorts of spells, holding the advantage tightly in his hand. The Soft Mist that had managed to break through to the third player of Team Everlasting was now completely helpless. The audience's chat instantly became more active. Not many of the face-slappers returned to watch this match, but there were still some. They were very discreet though, very cautious, not daring to be too openly mocking and afraid that their words would be shoved back into their faces. Yet, in this match between Soft Mist and Leopold, the Warlock was able to display his talents beautifully, stably maintaining the upper hand. The face-slappers had been holding back for a long time. When they saw the chaotic rain masterfully link with the previous skills, giving Soft Mist no chance of escape, they couldn't endure it anymore and erupted. Nicely done. A flawless victory, someone predicted. This is more like it. This is more like it, someone madly expressed their impatience to see such a scene. Don't give her any openings. Wipe her out. Well played. Continue this. 1 versus 3. It was clear that their eruption wasn't too crazy. At the very least, no one could clearly tell them apart from Team Everlasting's fans with their wording. Tang Ru was, of course, rather depressed at the current situation. From the Hexagram Prison onwards, her mechanical skill and hand speed became meaningless. She had no way of dealing with the situation at hand. Even now, under the chaotic rain, she was still completely helpless.